What's up, you guys? We're here with another video, and I'm so glad I'm doing this video because this is one of the most questions that are asked during my sessions is how to deal with anxiety and stage fright. If you guys don't know me, my name is Nikki. I am a singer, songwriter, voice coach here in Los Angeles, California. I also have a private studio here, and I do online and Zoom classes. So if you are down with that, or you want to get with some classes with me, check out the links below, and I got some on there for you. So let's talk about the one of the biggest questions is how do you deal with stage fright? And while I am talking to singers, because most of my audience are singers, and also most of my students, all of my students are actually singers because I'm a voice coach, this is also relatable for people who will do public presentations or public speaking or what have you. This is for you. So first we have to acknowledge what stage fright is, and we have to acknowledge that stage fright is that feeling of nervousness and anxiety before appearing on stage or while on stage or before appearing to an audience. That is when you feel like you can't breathe, or you feel like your knees are locked, or your palms are sweaty, or you're shaking everywhere, and the mind is just so loud of thoughts, both positive and negative. And while we can say, you just gotta think, you got this, right? So we hear people say, you got this. No, you are so good. You're built for this. There's a lot more in the mind. The mind itself is louder than the external voice. And so I have some practical tips for you guys today, and then I'll give you an insight on how to navigate your thoughts around your craft and around quote unquote stage fright. So I would say my one tip before you hop on stage, maybe like the morning of, or hours before, or maybe minutes before, you want to do some steady breathing exercises. You want to breathe in through the nose and then out the mouth, and you want to keep it not so fast. You want to do these exercises in a slow or a steady pace, so nothing too slow, nothing too fast. Something that would be easy and relaxing for you, that would calm your nerves down. And as you breathe in, you want to relax your stomach as well, and relax your knees. So you want to do a couple of that. And if you want to do that throughout the day before your performance, that's absolutely okay. Also, before you sing, you'd want to warm up. And so doing humming exercises will also calm the nerves as well, because you're going to be feeling a lot of the vibrations open up in your nasal passages and also your throat. And that will cause moisture as well. So you want to do a little bit of like humming slides and, fish face hums. If you don't know what these are, you can check out my other videos. I have those exercises on my warm-ups, but you want to do that. So a lot of humming, a lot of breathing exercises. Obviously, the week of or the night before, you want to get well rested. You want to get enough sleep. You want to eat the right foods, and that way you're not dehydrated the next day, or you're not bloated or what have you. Also, the day of, try to keep away from caffeine. Try to keep away from caffeine if you are really caffeine sensitive, but try to keep away from that and just drink water. Drink room temperature water. Ice water is fine too. All of this prep work really is to set the tone for yourself, knowing you're going to get your mind, ahead of the game, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to go on stage. I'm going to go on stage and this is what I'm going to do. That's the idea. So number one tip is you got to be in control of this conversation, and that's what you have to keep in your mindset. Okay. During that 4 minutes to an hour, whatever, how long your set is, you're the boss. Okay. You're the leader. As performers, as singers, we are communicators. And so we got to think, we have to deliver the message to our audience. And we don't have time for them to not understand what we're communicating to. And so during that time, when you reshift your thinking as you're the person who is hosting this thing, or like who is the leader during that time, it shifts the ball game. Your demeanor changes. You become a little bit more confident because you know, regardless of what happens, they're not the ones on stage. You are, right? There's a whole different level there. You're the one on stage and they're the one listening. And so just the idea of you speaking and they're listening, they're the ones soaking in the information. You have to understand that. And you have to keep telling yourself that you are the one who's manning this conversation. And so when you reshift your thinking in that sense, your confidence boosts up and the nervousness will still be there, but at least you have that idea that whatever happens, you're the boss. Yo, I started performing at a really young age, and I've heard many ways, different ways for you to navigate how to look at your audience, right? I'd hear ideas saying like, oh, just pretend that your audience is naked, like they're not wearing any clothes. And I was like, what, 8 years old, 9 years old? Like, how can I like possibly think that? I've heard that. And I've also heard to look at their hairline. Look at the person's hairline or look at the person's hair instead of looking at, to their eyes. And so I did that. But I find the intention though, the intention of why I'm doing it is because I was nervous. So I was acknowledging that I was nervous, and I carried this throughout like my performing, like every time I would perform or sing anywhere, even in church, I would carry that with me. But the idea behind it is you don't want to look at them in the eye because you're nervous. But if you go back to my first tip, being communicators as leaders, we have to understand that communication is key and your body language is important. The eye doesn't lie. That's a rhyme. Yeah, anyway, so it doesn't lie, right? And what if you're in a conversation and somebody just doesn't look at you in the eye while they're talking? I feel like that is a sign of, I don't know, insecurity or nervousness. And that's okay at that time. But when you're performing, try this. I want you to look at them straight in the eye, right? And communicate the song to them. And that's up to you because you have your own expression. But I want you to look at them straight in the eye. And that will kind of give you that, again, that leader demeanor. Why am I just rhyming today? The leader demeanor. That doesn't help. Like if you feel like that's a bit too much, or if you're in a large space, right? If you're like, you know, singing in front of hundreds and thousands, then this is what you can do. I want you to divide the auditorium or the state or the area into 3 sections. So you have like your left, middle, and right. Okay. And you're going to want to sing and you're going to want to look at an angle every 2 or so phrases. Okay. So like, let's say, and you're going to look straight ahead into this section, and you're going to look above, like you're going to look at the walls, or you're going to look at the sky or something like that. So I want you to go ahead and just look every 2 phrases and then shift back to the center and then shift to the right. Okay. And then you go back. So doing so really will help you. First of all, you're going to be moving. Okay. So to the audience, they'll think that, okay, she or he is so interactive with us. Okay. When the audience see that you're like shifting your body or your face towards them, they'll feel that warmth and they'll feel that acknowledgement. You know, people pay for these seats, right? And so when you look at their section, you're like, oh, cool. Maybe he or she's going to see me and acknowledge me. That's the idea, right? And so let me just demonstrate this. Okay. So like, let's say I'm going to sing, I'm trying to stay away from singing Mary Had a Little Lamb. I'm going to sing Mary Had a Little Lamb. Yeah. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. So do you see how like I kind of divided that? And it's up to you, really. You're like the best person to kind of gauge, you know, when to turn. But in your phrases, and this is something you want to do beforehand, before you actually perform. You want to practice phrasing, and sectional phrasing is what I like to call it. And again, if you cannot look at them in the eye, then look at the walls, okay? But the worst thing you can do is just look at one angle and look at the wall like this. Mary had a like, no. We do not do that, okay? We don't do that. That's because it shows, and we always have to think that this is a two-way conversation, okay? It just shows, or it perceives as you don't want to be there, that you're just doing this. And I know it's not because of that, and it's probably because you're nervous, and I get that. But to the opposite eye, to the other eye, they're gonna think, yes, you're nervous, and they can see right through you, or you just don't care about this craft. And I know that's not what it is. Like we know that's not what it is. Like you know that for sure. So avoid doing that and try the sectionals, okay? So the idea of stage fright, at the end of the day, I think with nervousness and anxiousness, is the idea of vulnerability. And all of us will feel that, whether it is stage fright or just the nervousness. And I think the reason why we're nervous is because we are going to be vulnerable once we get out there. Whether it is a scripted performance or it is a set gig. The idea is that we're doing something that people don't normally see every day. And that's what makes it like even more 10 times, like I would say worse, right? For the feeling, for that nervousness feeling. And so, but I want to let you know, okay, before I dive on to other things, that you will always have an audience for your craft. You will always have an audience for your song. You will always have the ability to motivate and inspire, if not the whole room, maybe one of them, maybe two of them, no matter the age group. So being in that sense of just knowing that you will have that audience, right? That should give you that sense or that energy to keep going. You know, as performers and as singers, we are creators. We create with our voice. We create with our hands. If you're playing an instrument, and we create with our mind. And that element deserves to be put out into the world. And that is a gift that you have, that no one else has. Because your ability, yeah, it maybe someone else can copy that, but you have your own element into it, and no one can copy your element. And so just being in that idea of vulnerability, just know that you're a vessel to someone. You're a vessel. Your craft is being used for someone's greater good, for someone's lesson, right? Just singing a simple love song, right? With lyrics, that will really reciprocate to someone who is listening to it. That may, right? And maybe you may not think of it in that sense. Maybe you're just thinking, okay, I'm going to write this song. It's going to be the next hit, or I'm just going to put this on like someone's Spotify's playlist, you know, but it's more than that. It really is more than that subconsciously if you think about it. And so I want to let you guys know that, you know, this feeling of vulnerability is something that you want to embrace because you're a creator and you are bringing this light into someone's life. And during that time when you're performing, that's what you really want to think about, is that this is a celebration because I get to show up and I get to bring my light and show my light to someone who needs it. And that could be anything. You know, I am not a dancer, but I am always inspired when I follow a lot of dancers on Instagram because I'm always inspired to see how they create art through their bodies. And it motivates me to also want to move my body in ways that I possibly can. So that's running or like, you know, bar or yoga or what have you. And it's the same for us creators. By putting out our craft, it doesn't mean that the audience is going to be the next singer or what have you, but you will motivate them in some other way, shape, or form. So instead of thinking about you as a singer or as a performer being vulnerable on stage, think about how your vulnerability can be a light to someone else, how it can motivate them to do things that they've never done before, or to feel things that they've never felt before, or to act upon something that they've always been scared to do, because they see you and your vulnerability. They see you just putting yourself out there. You don't know this, but people can see right through you, and people want to be relatable. And when they see that you're vulnerable, it reciprocates. And that's a lot of respect that's coming, you know, from you actually, and the singer. And so, I just want to say that, because when you start stripping away thoughts about yourself and you start thinking about what your craft can do to other people, you'll have a different message, and you'll have a different point of view to your music. Yes, the tips are great of like looking at sectionals and thinking you're the leader and the boss of the conversation. That's all good. And these are techniques that you want to really practice during your off stage. But I think the mind is so strong, and we have to constantly every day think about what our music and what our craft means to us and how that can help other people. That's really the essence of why we do what we do. And that's really the essence of why I do what I do. And it's not for anything else. I hope you guys found these tips very helpful. If you guys have, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. And I will have new videos out for you guys every week. Until then, keep singing. Bye guys.